Bad little dear ratchet. Had to throw it back in a facet. Had to put her head in a track slip. Had to rip it off like elastic. Ooh, bad little dear nasty.
Glasses Malone talks about something that I feel like needs to be addressed. Check it out.
Everybody think Dot is this good kid. Everybody think Kendrick is this good kid in the Mad City. This nigga is not that good of a kid.
He's a menace? He's like Usher, he's a menace?
He's mean, yo, by what he's done, you can tell he's mean, bro.
He's
a
mean person,
vicious.
Bro. Nigga, he's my guy.
Yo, the nigga Top dog, I met Top before. Top is mean. Them niggas aura, didn't I just tell that when it came out? I said, them niggas aura is mean, nigga.
And there's a confusion because the title of that album, but I don't think people was listening to the material. And I'm like, listen to the shit. This nigga is funny. He got 1,000 jokes. He not some nigga that like
he's witty. He can snap.
There's a weird rhetoric that this is some kind of cool guy. This is this nigga working on himself. This is not Cuz is like a raggedy, like Dot is some shit. You know what I mean? He gonna clown you all day. I didn't have to stop this nigga from fighting on tour buses. All kind of crazy. He is not. He's giving off what he wants to be. He's setting a goal, reaching his goal,
yes,
and inspiring kids to be better humans.
Over the years, there's been a lot of back and forth about the mentality of Kendrick Lamar. A lot of people believe because he's a conscious artist or he delivers a lot of his music in a conscious form that he's some sort of like good guy or softy or someone who doesn't want controversy. But that's farther from the truth. What Glasses is saying in the interview with Bag Fuel, and shout out to Bag Fuel, they've been making a name for themselves. Shout out to them. You know what I mean? Glasses is talking about what a lot of people kind of don't understand about LA culture. And let me explain. Now, me living in California, the one thing that I realized that's different from a lot of different places is let's just take the geography of everything. When you go to places like Inglewood, Los Angeles, Compton, there are parts that are very great in terms of the look of it. Like there's beautiful houses in all of these areas, and then there's what you call, the projects or, places that are considered dangerous, project buildings, things like that. But they're blocks apart from each other. The dangerous areas look like the great areas and vice versa. So one of the things that I realized, just because you see the buildings and the liquor stores and things like that, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad place. Just means that you're in a different area at the moment. And most of the time it's different area, different gang, different approach to how you live in that area or how you dwell there. It's just a little bit different. As for the people, poverty comes in all different forms. And when you're dealing in poverty, the options that you have are very, very small. The things that you're able to do that's in a positive nature is very, very small. So you have to really have a good support system, have a good family that's holding you down, or good friends that's holding you down. So many different elements. Why do I talk about that? Mainly because when you talk about Kendrick Lamar and artists like Kendrick Lamar, they're looking at their neighborhood from a different perspective. They're looking at the way that they grew up in a different light. Dot's very artistic in how he approaches music, but there's some artists that we've all grown to love that are very direct in how they speak about the neighborhood, their trials and tribulations, and things like that. And people think because Kendrick Lamar has a very artistic way of expressing what's happening in his neighborhood, a lot of fans or non-fans equate that to how he might be mentally, how he is mentally, or he's just a nice kid. He don't want no smoke. They equate that to the fact that you are rhyming over, soulful, lo-fi beats, or, some energetic records like All Right, positive, affirmations in your music. They automatically equate that to you being soft or you being somebody that doesn't want confrontation. What they don't realize is we live in confrontation every day. We live in confrontation every single day. That does something to somebody. That does something to people. Every time you go outside to go to school, you got to worry about whether the gangs is going to get you, the police is going to get you, somebody's going to pass away today. You don't know if you're going to eat. You don't know if you're going to live past the weekend. We go through confrontations every day. I've had to live it. I've had to live that in Inglewood. I've had to live that in Brooklyn. So in these types of neighborhoods, for somebody like Glasses Malone, he's been someone who has been, I would say, a guiding light in the LA culture. The reason I say that is because he's done what he's done in his lifetime. And he tries his best constantly, if you know him, and I've had the privilege of knowing Glasses, and we talk often. I may call him and, he might send me a record, or I might call him and get his opinion on something, things like that. And he's always been someone who has helped guide, a lot of people in music and just in life in general, like your thought process of how you approach things. And the one thing that he understands about Kendrick is that he's constantly working on himself. In the clip, he says he's constantly working on himself. And that's a reflection of a lot of people in, LA culture. We're all working on ourselves. We're working on ourselves in real time. If you've been to LA, you'll see how things can go from 0 to 60 real quick. It can go from party is jumping, everybody having a good time, to shots rang out. Some people may suffer from, PTSD or traumatic stress because of the things that they've gone through. Even if you watch, the movies that, that talks about and shows West Coast culture. Let's take, for instance, like Poetic Justice, right? In the beginning of the movie, Janet, her character, is in a drive-thru with her boyfriend. And, they're having a good time or whatnot. He goes to go get some popcorn, and two guys see him that they know him from a situation that happened probably weeks ago. And all of a sudden, they shoot him point blank range right in the car in the drive-thru. Those things used to happen in LA culture. Those things used to happen. In Minister Society, you see in the end of the movie, gang members ride up. It was over a situation that happened with a woman, got her pregnant or whatnot. Folks ride up and they shoot the whole place up. That happens in LA culture. If you've never seen Minister Society, watch the movie. What I'm saying is there's other elements of how you live in California that reflects the energy of what Kendrick and other artists, other West Coast artists, how they portray things. So just because they may have an artistic expression of how they talk about their music doesn't mean that they soft. And I think that's the one thing that Drake missed missed in this whole battle. He thought because Kendrick don't talk much, he don't do a lot of interviews, he doesn't share much of his feelings and his lifestyle, things like that. He equated that to being soft. But then when Kendrick got on his ass, now it's like you playing the victim. And then let's take that, for instance, let's take the context of, the diss records, even the subtle shots that Kendrick was taking beforehand. Like, he's a very competitive person. And I'm pretty sure everybody knows it by now. He's very, very competitive. He's always been ultimately competitive. He want to have the best verse. He want to have the best music. He wants to deliver his music a certain type of way. Even in his visuals, very, very competitive. That's why he's winning awards, because he's very competitive. But in LA culture, when you see the average kid, you see that they're very competitive. That's why a lot of sports greats come from LA. When it comes to like, joking and cracking jokes on your friends and stuff like that, that's a part of LA culture. Not saying it's not a part of no other culture, but I'm saying it's magnified in LA culture, because cracking jokes and things like that is just getting on your friends, getting on, people at school. That's what it is. So K-Dot has a sense of humor that he can use in his music. I heard this one quote from somebody, I forgot who said it, but they was like, the best artists are the ones who have a sense of humor, because they're able to tap into other elements that serious, people can't. K-Dot has a very, very bright sense of humor. So the what, that, look at all that type of stuff, A minor, all that is all jokes. It probably stemmed from them cracking jokes in the studio and then making a record. And when Glasses was saying, he's a mean person, I don't think he meant mean person as in he does devilish things. He wants to be mean for no reason. What I think he means is Dot is someone who, if he's gonna go there, he's gonna go there. If he's gonna crack jokes on you, he's never gonna stop. If he wants to be ultimately competitive, he's not gonna stop being competitive with you. He's gonna take it all the way. He's gonna say what he means. He's gonna be honest about his approach. That's what I think, Glasses means by he's a mean person, because society doesn't know how to handle people like that so often. There's a lot of, like even Jay-Z, like a lot of people say that people who know him says that he's very hilarious. He likes to laugh and stuff like that, but he's very serious and he takes shit to heart. So he's finna go all the way. You see the similarities? So the one thing people have to realize is in West Coast culture, we take things to heart. And I say we because I've been adopted by West Coast culture. So I'm going to say we. Take things to heart. And we're not forgetting nothing. We're not forgetting nothing. That interview was so important because not only was they talking about the Kendrick and Drake beef and why there were certain elements that got crossed that Drake didn't understand because of the lack of culture. He was also talking about LA culture, how it stands, and how we benefit in the industry and how we approach music, how we approach, doing things in life. And that's the one thing that I think people don't quite understand. They don't understand, true gang culture. They don't understand street urban culture that, Glasses would say. And I think that people need to tune in a lot more to where West Coast artists are coming from, because I think it's important in order for you to understand the music and understand where West Coast artists, they're taking their music. You have to understand the culture, and the music is giving you an insight to what the culture really is. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you shouldn't. How can I say this? You shouldn't underestimate anybody on no level. You shouldn't underestimate nobody, especially somebody who's won 5 Grammys. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Let me know what y'all thoughts is, you know what I'm saying? Let me know what y'all feel about, West Coast culture and how it pertains to the music that we create. You know what I mean? Let me know what y'all think about. Do you think Kendrick is an actual, really mean person? Or do you think that he activates himself in the midst of whenever something's needed? Do you think that he activates his niceness when it's needed? He activates his mean streak when it's needed? Let me know what y'all think. Leave it in the comments. I appreciate y'all. You already know what it is. Workload.